Ladies and gentlemen, welcome at the 6th edition of Ukraina Festival Filmowy. This time with us we have Kateryna Hornostaj, the director of the film Stop-zemля. Hello, Kateryna.
Hi.
So in your film, you portrayed the group of people, the group of young people, and they are in between their childhood and adulthood. What fascinated you in that period of our life?
I remember that point in my own life, and it was a really interesting transition to be experiencing. So that's why I really want to portray this kind of a stage of growing up. Maybe to help a bit to go through this stage, because yeah, that's emotionally really not easy period to be in. So that's why, I don't know, maybe this film will kind of I don't know, I hope it would be working as a hug. Maybe.
Gotcha. But do you actually think that there is the lack of that kind of films in the film industry, that we do not, that in Ukraine you do not have this tradition of films about this period of the life?
Actually, in Ukraine, we just starting to have such a quantity of the films, and mostly it's the films that have really, they are like plot-driven films mostly. Стоп-земля is about not a plot, not like a script, not things that is happening, but about the state of being in such a age. And yeah, as for me, I was like in such a film because I really like I was raised, I think, on American Hollywood movies, and I know this genre really well. I like it, like coming of age films, this kind of a classic genre that. But when I was watching these films, and while I was a teenager, actually, I always was thinking that it's strange because they have really interesting and fascinating life, this protagonist of these films, but and they are teenagers as I am. But my life is not so interesting. I have this kind of a dramas that they're experiencing in this film. So I really wanted this film to be about teenagers, like really have really boring life, you know, because the most part of them actually struggling with their inner things, but not without some kind of a I don't know, dramas, relationships, and like, yeah, you know, drugs, sex, and all this kind of stuff that is always portrayed in such films. Sometimes people live in really simple life, but struggling as well. And I really want I really want such a film to be for them. Yes.
So it's like an homage to a normal, regular life.
Yeah, in a way, yes, because anyway, this age is really tough, even if everything is okay. And that's why, for example, the character of Masha is feeling like she's feeling. So she's really having really good life, good parents, wonderful friends, everything okay in school. She's smart and she's cute, so everything's okay. But something is really bothering her, and this kind of a feeling that is from inside, it's bothering you because I don't know, because everything comes to your life like first time, and then you know how to deal with your own feelings about it. So yeah, I really wanted it to be about such people like Masha. And
gotcha.
me.
And actually, I'm curious, how did you build your characters? Where did you look for the inspirations? Because they have so much in common, but at the same time, they are such individuals on the screen. How did you write them?
You know, these things, like I wrote the script, and some archetypes of these characters were already there because I don't know, you've been through that experience, and everybody were at school, and we remember how it was, and we had friends there, and so this was really easy task to do, like to build this kind of a world that have this archetypical like characters inside. And I really knew what relationship between the characters I really want to have in this film. But then we had really amazing period of casting, and the real people came to us, and we prepared like this class of 25 people that is then like moved to the film, like a whole class. We found them by like each of them were found separately, not together. So they were not familiar to each other before for the filming process. But then we gathered them and started to prepare with them, and we didn't want to show any kind of information about the script to them while preparing, because I really want them to be to create such an atmosphere of, I don't know, friendship and doing something together, not about the film and not about this. I didn't want it to be like a contest for the roles, for the some kind of thing. So that's why we did a lot of different things that were not. They were connected to the script, but not, you know, like ну так, ну, не прямо, а опосередковано. So yeah, and it was really great time for me to observe them as real people in real environment. And I saw these archetypes that I was really like they scripted. I saw in them, and some of them were really like some of them suited really well to the characters from the script. Some of them was a bit different, and it was okay for me to change the character a bit. When the real person is going into the character, he or she changes the character a bit. Events are the same. They were scripted and they were on place from the beginning. But this kind of things from for example, Artyom, the guy is like tall, blonde guy. He's like the leader of the class. He's like really beautifully looking guy. So he was in a script. He was a bit how to say it? Like he was more angry, you know, like he was a bit more bully, but in ironic way. I don't know how to explain it, but Artyom is really intelligent and like more, I don't know, like bourgeois type of such a leader. So he placed himself in this role. So this character of Artyom becomes this kind of a guy that is really like aristocrats in the school. He's ironic and he's a bully in a way, but anyway, he's like more intelligent, not in terms of like smart, but intelligent in terms of the culture. So yeah, that was the transition of the script when real people went inside the story and changed the characters a bit.
Gotcha, but actually, was it challenging for you to work with so many young actors? This is your feature debut, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm curious about this relationship that you had on the set. Was it more like a friend relationship, or was it more like the hierarchy that everybody knew that you are the boss and that you are the one who gives the orders?
It was more like a friendship, and it's still like a friendship because of this laboratory we had. Because while we were having it, it was 9 weeks, so only 2 months, like and 1 week more. But anyway, it was really interesting experience because at that point they were really we were trying a lot. We were doing a lot of different things. We were shooting documentary films about themselves. They were writing text. We're doing some kind of a practices for body and for the voice, and we were doing a lot of improvisation, like in acting terms. So they were really like, how to say it? Sometimes they were dramaturgists of their own etudes. So they make the etudes up like they wanted it. So they try a lot of different things, and it was really creative process and creative atmosphere. And that's why on a set, when they already got the script and have their roles, we had this like a tete-a-tete meeting with each of them to talk about the role now. And yeah, they were, you know, on that point of time, they were already really our people. They know what films what kind of a film we're gonna do, because they understand that I'm into documentary theater more and documentary films, and this way of acting, but not acting, you know, living through some events inside of the script. It was familiar to them on that point. So that's why with the kids, it was wonderful process on a set. I was completely we were working together actually. So we had the script and tried to live through these events that we're staging now inside of the like our made-up world. But the events really simple in dramaturgic sense. So it was really simple for them to play them because they already know such experience from their own life. It's really simple film. You didn't have any kind of a, like, you know, dramaturgy amplitude there. So this is really, really simple. And yeah, and they have this kind of a inner measure of this falseness, you know, when they do in the scene, they understand it by themselves that, oh, it was like too much, or sometimes, and I'm seeing it and I'm talking with them about that. So it was like it was the creative process that was going on further. So after the laboratory, it was really, really simple to work with them. And I was more relaxed to work with them than with for example, grown-up professional actors that were on the set, because on that times I was really nervous how to you know, how to make them all together in one scene, and not to have this difference that this is a living person, a teenager that is like not playing but living through this scene, and the professional actor that tries to do something in this scene. It was the most actually for me, it was the most terrifying thing, that I was really afraid that I'm gonna fail in that part mostly.
And as you mentioned, actually in the film, you decided to add as well the interviews with the young actors. I was curious if you wanted to make these interviews as interviews with the actors or with the characters that they are playing.
Actually, our interviews, not that in the film, but interview as it was like really crucial part of casting for me. Like before everything, it was like the first stage. After the application form or after our documentary research in schools, we had these interviews, tete-a-tete interviews with them, and we have plenty of material of like from maybe I was talking with more than 250 teenagers before the starting of the preparation film, like during the casting. So, and it was really interesting for me in terms of this modern world of teenagers, because yeah, the first draft of script was written as I remember the school, like 50 years ago. So, but a lot of things are changed. We have a war in the country, and it changed a lot. A lot of people are going to, this is the story that takes place in the capital, in Kiev, but anyway, I really wanted to portray one of the characters that is coming from this replaced family that went from the east part of Ukraine, from the war to Kiev, like 5 years ago when the war started. I mean, 5 when we were shooting it, now 7. So it's like it was for me really interesting, because the kids were going from the war when they were 10, and now they're 15, 16, and this is completely new life for them, and they already like really rooted into Kiev school life, because 6 years is really big period for a teenager to be like on a place, to be the one, like, you know, from like to be the part of the group actually. So they already the part of the group of Kiev classes, and they already live in there, but they remember this childhood on Lugansk or Donetsk. And another thing is this kind of a smartphones that they are having, and we didn't have it when we were school students. So yeah, so I was talking a lot with them, and I was fascinated with this kind of openness that teenagers have when you're talking to them. And when we were shooting the film, I had this idea in mind that I want to do this round of interviews one more time, but after all the shootings would be ended, like on the last part of the shooting process. And yeah, because I really want to depict this kind of a conversation, you know, when people are talking to each other really freely, openly, and yeah, for me this was part of the process of the film, and I really want this kind of a confession to be there. But anyway, these interviews that are in the film, it's not scripted part because it was made like a real interview, like a documentary interview. But anyway, it's the part of the fiction film because I was talking to a real person, but in a prism of the character she or he already played in the film. So we were like talking beforehand. We were deciding with them what we're gonna do. So we decided to talk, but the information and everything that is happening on this interview is like seen through the prism of this character that is that was fulfilled by this person, but the real person, by the actor. So I named this parts of the film fiction as well, because anyway it's like a real talking but with a character more than a real person. But you know, sometimes a real person and a character was really close to each other in terms of experience. So but this is the case that I don't want to say that, okay, that was true and that was made up. I think that this is responsibility of the kids, of the actors actually, to be truthful about what they were saying is true and what they were saying is like scripted, you know, of what was the reality of the film, and that was their own reality. So it was in both ways.
Gotcha. In the end, I have to ask you about the visual side of your film. You seem to be very visual director. I am wondering, like, what are your inspirations? What are you looking for? What drive you to this side?
Actually, that's really interesting you're saying that, because I always joking that I'm the director that listening more than watching. And yeah, that's actually true, because we have a lot of language and a lot of talking in the film, and the words and the way of saying things is one of the most crucial things to be like truthful on the screen. So that's why I need to be really focused on how they are talking, how they are saying things. So yeah, sound is really crucial thing for me actually. But I was really lucky to work with my DOP, Alexander Roshin. We worked on the previous short films, and we had this kind of a manner of a documentary looking camera in a fiction film already. But this time when we were preparing for the big film, like first big film for me, we decided that we really want to keep this documentary part in a way of acting of the actors, but we really want for the film to be looking like a fiction film. So to combine this really two controversial thing, you know, to be free and don't expect some things while you're shooting it, but to be really constructive in terms of the scene, of the lighting, of the place, and of the frame. So yeah, and we planned the whole script with Sasha beforehand, and we were dreaming how it would be. So we were thinking how it would be better to shoot the film, and then on the set, actually, I even say that he was more of a director of his of the visual side of the film, because yeah, we talked a lot how we want to do it, but on a set, my task was more to work with actors and to listen to them, and his task was to make such a frame that he would be satisfied with. It's hard actually for him to be satisfied with anything, but anyway, it was like the process like that. And we have some kind of a sometimes we talked, he was always checking with me and I was checking with him on terms of the visual side. And I really want him to listen to actors too, because, you know, for a documentary cameraman, he's not a documentarist, but in such a process, it's really, sometimes it's really, there's such a need to listen to them, but he was really concentrated on the visual side, so he couldn't combine these two elements. But yeah, anyway, this is really great for me, great honor to work with. He's more experienced as a DOP than I am as a director, and yeah, and I really love that we actually in the end we couldn't combine these two really uncombining thing, because I really want for actors to be free as much as possible, but he really wanted to be staged as much as possible in terms of the set. So we really tried our best to combine these two elements. So yeah, and the set designer Maxim Nemanko, he's fascinating with all his team. He made all these places that we actually see on the screen, and for us it was really crucial and hard to find these places that we would be like to place in the film. And strangely enough, we didn't find such places in real life. So that's why we were in need to construct them. For example, I didn't like, and not me, all of us didn't like any color of the walls in school everywhere we've been. We've been to a lot of school in Kyiv, but the colors are just, I don't know, they're not cinematic and they're ugly, actually. So we were really looking, but after this failure, we didn't find the school that it was really good on our list of parameters. That's why we created these spaces on our own, and Maxim and his team was in charge of that. And it was like, yeah, we talked a lot beforehand, but yeah. So this is actually the film, and I'm really proud of that, that we have this kind of a freedom within this work of different departments in the film, and they were all creating what they really like. And they're the people with a really great taste, and that's why I really, they were checking with me. But it's, for example, the costumes, it was always like that. Our Alena Gray's costume designer, she, for example, takes like 3 variants of outfit of this scene, and all of these outfits are really cool. So you can choose something, but anyway, she feels the character, she feels the scene, and she understands really cool how to make it. So yeah, it was freedom and love mostly.
Yeah, from what you're saying, it really seems like you had the group of people who were really involved and really in love with your project. So Kateryna, thank you so much for finding the time. Congratulations for the film, and I hope that at the next edition of Ukraina Festival Filmowy, we will see each other face to face in Poland.
Yeah, I hope. Thank you for having us, and thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.